was
End the road tour. One last.
Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley.
Hi, everybody. This is Claudio Spera from Kissin podcast. I'm here with my dear friend. This is not a formal interview. This is my dear friend, Ros Radley. And, before we get into the introductions, I just wanted to say hi to Ros because it's been some time that I haven't talked to him. Hi, Ros. How are you?
Hi, Claudio. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you. So how are things over there in Houston? So you're keeping well, safe and healthy as well?
Yes, I'm blessed. I don't have any complaints.
That's good. Daughter's okay, so family is doing great.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. My daughter's doing very well.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me just tell you about the project. Ros Kissin Time is a Latin American podcast. I think it's the first one in history because we're trying to unite as many countries as possible. And we have, representatives of 6 or 7 different countries. And, we were thinking that we wanted to reach out to some of the, big fans and diehard fans that are somehow connected to the band. And, one of the first names that popped up to my head was your name. We had a great experience a couple of years ago for Kids Fever Radioactive, having a great interview on your book. But, on to you. I'll let you introduce, and then we're going to get going with some of the questions we have for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ros Radley. I'm currently working on a book about Kiss called MAGIC KISS KRONICLES, 1973 to 1983. And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, can I, I was trying to find, the best, I know that you're a music teacher, you're a percussionist, you're a drummer, so you're big on arts, but, related to Kiss, I was trying to find the best definition, and I came up with some words. You're going to correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, can I say that you're the creator, author, and concept designer of the book MAGIC KISS KRONICLES 1973 to 1983?
Yes, that's
you are, right? Right. Yes. I know that on the design part of things, you were working with, I can't recall the name, but you're going to come up with that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Scott Davis and I are, he's doing the design along with myself. We work together to put the things together.
Okay.
He's the one who actually is doing the design in the software on the computer, right? So he's the one physically actually doing it. But in terms of what it looks like and what it's supposed to look like and how it's going to work, he and I work together on that.
Okay, cool.
He's an amazingly creative guy, and I'm blessed to have him helping me with that part of this, and because he's incredible. He and I, we see eye to eye on the way this book should be, and so it's great fun working with him, and I love him to death.
So you're basically on the same wavelength, right? So for a project like this, I think that's one of the most important things, to be exactly on the same frequency.
Yeah.
Ross, we just wanted to reach out to you basically so that you can give us an update, the latest update and status of the project. I know that you've been posting updates on the Facebook page, for the book, but we just wanted to basically hear from you on first person, and it's been some time. I think the latest, if I remember well, the latest update comes from May 23rd. It wasn't that long ago, but maybe you have good news to give us, or news. Whatever it's news, it's good. So on to you. So where are we with the project?
Yeah, so we're still finishing up, and we're near the finish line. I would hope to be finished already. And what happened back in March when the coronavirus situation happened, and my daughters had to stay home from school. Well, then the time during the day when they're normally at school and I'm working on the book, I had to help them with their schoolwork. And my oldest daughter has autism, and her schoolwork takes a long time to work through with her because it's because of her condition.
It's time consuming.
Very time consuming. So starting back basically the second week of March, I lost out on March, April, and May, the time that I would normally have to work on the book.
Okay.
Right. So, but now they're out of school. Okay, school year is done for them, and they're home. But I don't have to help them with schoolwork all day, so I'm back on my normal schedule. So we're hoping to have everything completed by the end of July. And when I send the files off to the printer has confirmed that it'll take about a month and a half to get the books shipped to me, to get them printed and shipped to me. Okay. So if we send the files at the beginning of August, the end of July, beginning of August, sometime around there, then sometime in the middle of September is when I should have the books. Okay. And then I start shipping them out to everybody.
Okay. Well, that's really good news. That hasn't changed, I guess, from the latest update that we saw on May 23rd, which is good. And I know, and I think it makes perfect sense because, the pandemic basically hit us in so many different ways. So life is not the same now, and it will not be the same for the time being. So, given the situation, what you explained, with there's a certain limit of time that you have during the day. So you have to do what's priority. And in the case of family, of course, it's going to take priority.
And just a reminder for people who might not know, one thing is because I teach music, that's what I do for a living. I do that after school hours, right? Because most of my students are school kids. Mm-hmm. Okay, so again, that's why I was saying the time that I have to work on the book is during the daytime when my daughters would normally be at school. Mm-hmm. But I lost a lot of that time from homeschooling them.
Of course.
Anyway, so that's. I just want to make sure that's really clear.
It is, and thank you for that. Next question is, I know that even before the pandemic hit us, there's been a little bit of a slippage or a little bit of a delay in the release of the book. Can we say that is it related to the big demand or the agreement that you had to set up with so many different photographers? Did that contribute to the delay? Maybe you had a demand that you were not expecting, or you had to set up paperwork with photographers that you thought it was going to take shorter. So is that part of what caused the delay?
No. There's only actually been two things that have delayed the book since July of 2018, when I started the crowdfunding.
Okay.
So I just want to try to make this really clear again to anybody who's listening. We started the crowdfunding in July of 2018. Okay. By August, we had reached our goal of funding that I would need to pay for all the photos and to pay for the printing, right? So by August, we had the money. And at that point, I was hoping to have the book done at the end of the 2018, beginning 2019, right? And then about mid-November 2018, this person came forward with a huge amount of information and photos that no one's ever seen, and a lot of stuff nobody knew, and I could not turn it away. So that was the first major delay in the progress of the book. So, and just you were mentioning earlier about what it is that I do, writing the book, co-designing it. I'm also the editor, and I do kind of customer service or social media maintenance on
customer right.
But I'm also the photo editor, so any photos that I would get, I would go into Photoshop and clean up, because almost every single one of them, these photos that have been lying around for 40 years, need help to make them look good again. And that's, I'm not going to put out a book full of a bunch of scratched up, out of focus, or discolored photos. So that's a really time-consuming task. This takes forever. If you want to kind of have the good material, actually what the Kiss fans deserve, it's going to take a lot of time. That the photo editing itself, yes, takes an enormous amount of time, hours and hours and hours and hours of doing that. And once people see the book and they keep turning the page and they see how great the photos are, right? Perfect looking photos, they'll understand what, where the time went.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was the first delay, right? And I had hoped to have everything finished by June of last year. And there wasn't another, nothing else happened. I wasn't sick. My house didn't burn down. There was nothing that happened. I just didn't get it done and I'd hoped to get it done, and I couldn't. There was just too much more work to do.
Yeah. Well, that normally happens even at work. You estimate, and you come up with the first figures of how long a task is going to last, and then you realize that when you put your hands on it, it takes maybe double the time, triple the time. It depends on the quality of the product that you want to give, right? And I know that, I know that basically I'm on the same boat as many other Kiss fans that love you, to death. And we all know that this book is going to be unbelievable. So that's why I think, the support that you got from the real Kiss fans, it was enormous, because we know what you're dealing with, and this is a book that we have never seen before. And I think we will never see something like this.
Well, if somebody decides to take on a project like this by themselves, I hope that they can have the same kind of support like you've shown and so many others have, and be allowed to work on the project, and that people will understand the magnitude of what it is. So, and one other thing that's worth pointing out is this book is not. It's not like they call it cookie cutter. Have you ever heard that phrase?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
where you can just go, okay, have the same, every page, it looks the same.
Yeah.
It's not like that. I don't want that book, and neither does Scott Davis. So there's a level of creativity that's involved in this, where we don't want it to look the same, and we don't want it to be busy. We don't want it to be confusing. We want it to flow nicely, right? And have information plus the photos, and information and details, and the collar, and
basically you're treating page by page in a unique way, right? So you don't want to.
Yes. Yeah. And hopefully the samples that I've provided, and I think there's been over 30 spreads, 2-page spreads that that I've made available over the years. Hopefully people can see that and go, yeah, no, I understand. So for example, here, I'll show you something. This is the sample booklet that Scott and I took to Atlanta.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was 2017 or no, 2018, whatever year it was. The year that Vinny came to Atlanta when he came back out, right? Mm-hmm. So if I open to, one of these spreads. Wow. Now you can see that one, it's about Cadillac. Yeah. And it's very, there's a lot of photos, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if I look for another one, the very next page or a couple of pages, you might find something that just is like this, more of just a big single page.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So we don't want the book to be all of one thing. We like a balance, right?
Yeah, of course. Course.
That's one of the things that I've always, when I see other books, that's, the way I feel is, there was another way that it could be done.
And I can tell you that, with the size of the book of 550 pages, if you come up with, as you said before, as a cookie cutter, that every page is the same, it's going to be really boring,
Right. Yeah. And that's a lot of pages. So that's
I know.
Somebody is going to be very heavy and very thick.
I know.
I want it to flow. I want it to breathe. I want it to tell the story. I want the KISS fans to be able to look at the details and learn something new on every page, right? As well as get like the full page picture that's just, a beautiful shot. I want a balance. I don't want it to be all one. So it's not all information and it's not a photo book, right? Photo books, are full of photos and very little information. I want a balance. So
I remember the last interview we had. We were extensively talking about the concept and the perfect mix of information plus photos. So you cannot deem this book as a photo book or information. It's the best of the best, right? So
it's a balance between the two.
Right.
And if somebody needs an idea, if they look at Kisstory, the book Kisstory, right? Remember Kisstory?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? So in this book, you had information, right? And then you had nice big photos.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And that's basically it. Information plus the photos with a balance. Mm-hmm. Not one or the other side.
Yeah.
That's it. But the difference is Kisstory, unfortunately, has a lot of misinformation and it leaves a lot of stuff out. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a lot of stuff that's just they didn't include. So,
they did not include, and some of the information that you find there, it's inaccurate. It's for diehard fans like us that we know every single detail. You can tell. I was so excited when we talked the last time, and basically you were doing the chronology of the band, following, by images or, trying to recreate, the history by selecting specific photos, looking at the costumes, and talking about this show or that show. That's a unique. So I have never seen a book like this. So, I think, as I said before, many of us were really excited, and if we have to wait, we'll wait, and it's all good. It's all good. So you said, Ross, that there's new photos that have been added to the book. Are they from any specific era, from any specific year, or late? No, not really. Yeah?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
The big batch that I got back in November of 2018, the majority of that stuff was from 74 to 78.
Okay.
Right? Which is, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good era, good time. Mm-hmm. But I've still got a lot of cool stuff that nobody's ever seen from 80 and 81, 82 and 83. Okay. Right? There's just a load of stuff. One of the hardest things about this book, Claudio, the most difficult thing about this book is finding a way to make sure everything fits,
Mm-hmm.
because we have this much information and we have to fit it into, even though 550 pages is a lot of pages,
Still, exactly. Yeah.
it's very hard. Yeah. So I could do like a 200-page book just on Cadillac. That, I mean, anybody
Yeah,
could take
of course.
a Cadillac visit and make 200 pages of that.
Yeah. Well, you know, with the material that I've seen, that we had the chance to go over, even, you know, if you look at the first, 74, 75, 76,
Mhm.
even just with that, you can, fill up a book. You know, it's
Yes.
and now you're going into the, 78 Dynasty, and then Eric Carr. So it's endless. I can imagine.
Just the first 10 years, those guys were so busy.
Oh yeah.
So busy, so much happened. Okay, so and along with just reporting what happened, where they were when it happened, it'll also be a study of the costuming, pointing out.
Right.
So I'll
Yeah.
give you an example, Claudio. Just today, somebody on Facebook was asking about, the hydraulic lifts that would lower them down on the Love Gun,
Yeah.
the Live 2 stage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some concerts, they didn't use that.
Okay.
Not only did they not use it, it wasn't even there on the stage. Those cages that would lower them down,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't put them on the stage for some reason.
Even if it was part of the same tour.
Right, same tour, but
Right.
for a few shows,
Yeah.
they just didn't use them.
Mm-hmm.
And for some shows, they didn't use the lifts that come up at the end, right, when the drum riser goes.
With the drums, yeah, with the
For some of the
drums.
shows, the drum riser goes up, and Gene, Ace, and Paul are still down there on the floor. They're not doing the lifts.
Right.
Now,
right.
I don't know why. I don't really understand why. Now, some people were saying that they had, that they would alternate stages. They had like an A stage and a B stage, but I don't think that's actually true, because the stages without the lifts are the exception. Most of the shows, I would say probably 90% of the shows that they did for the Love Gun and the Alive 2 tour,
Yeah.
had full production.
Had the lifts and everything. Yeah.
They were what they call leapfrogging the stages, right?
Right.
One show with the stage with the lifts, and the next show without, and then with the lifts, and it didn't happen that way.
Right.
And I have the photos. That's how I know it, because there's all these photos I've collected all over the years.
Yeah.
So I'm not guessing. I'm not just making it up.
Right.
Confirmed photos that show, and you can see there's no cages.
Yeah,
You can see
that's why I said that it's basically recreating the history and basically confirming information through photos, right?
Right.
So
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. Hey, Ross, coming back to the release of the book, we know that there's two different versions. We have the deluxe and the so-called standard. Okay. Will both be shipped at the same time?
Correct. The shipping will go in the order that it was placed. So
Okay.
first person, there's the first ones that will get boxed up, and then on down the line.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the people who have ordered recently, they won't get theirs as soon as the people who ordered back in July 2018. Right?
Of course.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they understand.
And the deluxe is sold out, and some people was ordering kind of a last minute for let's say the standard version of it, right?
People can order the standard edition.
Okay, they can do that. Okay.
Yeah, just go to
do
the
you-
website and place the standard order like
Okay.
normal.
Do you? So you said before that there's a little bit of everything. So we're going from 1973 to 1983, but I guess that in your kind of mapping of the book, you must have maybe assigned a number of pages per year or per, let's say, era. Do you have that info? Oh, well, that's awesome. Okay. that's what I wanted. Okay.
It's weird to do this backwards. It messes with my head. But there we
Okay.
go. Right? So the beginning of, pre-Kiss to 73, there will be 40 pages that covers that era. All of 74, 70 pages, 75, 76, and 77, all 70 pages for that.
Okay.
60 pages for 78 and 79, and then 35 for 1980, and 25, 25, and 25 for 81, 82, and 83.
For the last 3 years. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Beautiful.
So hopefully, obviously, to most Kiss fans, the reason for that is the amount of touring that they did in 74 to 79 is way more than they did in 80 to 83.
Yeah.
So that's why it won't take as many pages to cover those other years.
Of course. Well, they, as you said before, those guys, they were real troopers, at the beginning, and they were touring all over the map, and they were doing lots of events and appearances everywhere. So yeah, that was the golden years, I have to say. But I have to agree with you that, the name of the book, it's Magic. That's what it is, right? So those first 10 years, this is where the magic is, I guess.
Well,
to me.
I think so too. But one thing that, anybody could, if they were wondering why it's called Magic, if they just pay attention to the interviews that the band themselves have done over the years, how many times when they're talking about that early time, they'll use that word over and over and over again.
Right.
And
it's true.
I don't know how many people know that, Neil Bogart went at the early stages when he was introducing and explaining what Kiss was to the Warner Brothers record executives, right? When he was just telling them about it.
At the very beginning, yeah.
He would introduce Kiss as magic, and he would throw a flash paper, just for the show of it. But he would say that, actually, Kiss is magic, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So as far as I'm concerned, if it's good enough for Neil Bogart, it's good enough for me.
It is. Well, even in 1996, when they reunited, and they do the press conference at in New York, at the Tripit Museum, I remember Gene, saying "Magic is back," right? So
absolutely, there you go.
That's what it is.
There's no shortage. You could go through and read any interview, and they're going to say that. But what's funny is it's not even just Kiss. Other bands will say the same thing when they talk about how they got together and stuff. They'll use that word, magic a lot.
It was magic.
Special.
Yeah.
And I think Kiss fans agree. Yes, Kiss is a special band.
Very special band.
Very special.
Ros, I know that nowadays it doesn't matter where you are, where you live, so you can order stuff, from the website. But I have to ask you this question. So how can people from Latin America basically order the book and make sure that it makes it to their hands? So I guess they go to your site, so you explain.
Right. And you go to the website, which is MAGIC KISS KRONICLES, 1973 to 1983.com. When you go to that website, you click the book that you want to order and how many you want. And there is a place, when you place your order, it asks you where you're from, where you want it shipped to.
Okay.
You click whatever country that you're in, and it's already set up to put the correct shipping cost for that country.
Okay.
So if you're in Brazil and you click Brazil, the shipping cost that it takes to ship to Brazil will automatically come there, and that's all you have to do.
Have you received a substantial amount of orders from Latin America, like countries like Mexico, Bolivia, Brazil, Argentina, Chile? Have you got many orders from the region?
I don't really know the number. I wouldn't say that it's a standout number.
Okay.
But there's definitely people who have ordered from there. But I think probably the Scandinavian countries have ordered most.
Okay. Yeah.
Those Swedes are.
Oh yeah. Those guys, man. Sweden. Oh my God, Norway. Those guys are crazy. But one of the things that it's basically killing us, in Latin America is the shipping cost. And that brings me to the next question. Have you set up any kind of agreement with some local company to minimize the shipping cost? Let's say someone that is going to take care of, all the shipments to Latin America, and they do the last mile, they do the distribution instead of each one of the fans paying for the shipping?
No, I don't have anything set up like that. Though the person that is my contact with the printer, he has told me that he has some information.
Okay.
When it comes time to do that, he can help me with that international shipping, both overseas and to South America.
Okay.
As it stands right now, it's just, it'll just be the United States Postal Service shipping.
And that's it. Okay. And I guess it's going to be shipped priority mail, or people will be able to track, the package and everything.
Absolutely, yes. There'll
Okay.
be
What's the weight of the book?
8 pounds.
8 pounds. Okay.
And I did. I mean, obviously, I haven't printed the book to weigh the actual book.
It's an estimate, yeah.
I'm basing it. Here's a good way to look at it. Check this out. You remember this book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lynn, okay.
Yeah. So my book is going to be a little bit thicker than this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like that, but it's basically the same size, and I think this is like 6 pounds or something like that.
Okay.
So this is a good way to measure it and get an estimate of what it'll cost. And if it ends up costing more, or if it ends up costing more, I'm not going to charge anybody extra. Mm-hmm. And if it ends up costing less, then I will refund the money.
Of course, yeah.
That it costs less.
Yeah.
Whatever they pay, if they paid $35 and it only costs $25, then I'll send $10.
Yeah, you will only know when you ship it, right? So this is the same as when you buy stuff from auctions. You never know what the shipping cost is going to be until the time that you go to the post office. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. So Ros, well, again, I wanted to thank you very much for your time. I know it's time for supper if you haven't had that already. And but I know that we can't hang out forever and we can be talking for hours. But I didn't want to disturb your routine. Well, I think we got basically the KISS fans what we wanted. Hear from you. We're still on the target shipping date for starting, let's say, by mid or end of September. So people will start getting their books in the month of October. I think it's going to be fantastic. Everybody's really looking forward to it. But if you have some final words, for KISS fans and for everybody, even for Latin America, just go ahead and we'll wrap it up with you.
Okay. The main thing I want to say is thank you to you, Claudio, and everyone else who is supporting this project and hanging in there with me. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. I'm not out to rip anybody off. Okay. All I want to do is make the best book I can possibly make. And if it takes longer, then so be it.
Exactly.
I'm not interested in a second edition that's going to be better later. Here's what I'm begging everyone. Please just be patient with me. Please. Okay? You and I are we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
And I know, and I'm glad that people are excited about it. Of course, I'm glad, that's a thrill that people are excited about getting something that I'm putting out. But I can't shortchange the book just because people want it or whatever. No. Just hang in there. Once we get to where the book is wrapped up, I'll be spreading all kinds of information everywhere. You'll be hearing from me.
Yeah, I know.
Arms and everything. Right?
Of course.
Yeah, everybody will know what the story is. Until then, everybody just take care of their families and let me finish the book. And again, thank you. Claudio, serious thank you for.
You're very welcome, my friend. I know that it comes from, it comes from your heart, and same here. And I was thinking that, if we put this situation into the perspective of what we're going through with the pandemic and everything, why not wait? So we should be waiting. There's worse things in life than, having a book released. I know it's going to be a very special book, but, I guess the real Kiss fans, that they trust you 150%, and we know it's going to be awesome. So once again, Ros, I wanted to thank you very much, from the bottom of my heart. It's always nice to talk to you. And, we can cross paths anytime. Maybe we're going to have one of these other interviews when the time comes, closer to the release date. And even when we have the book, I would love to have another one with the book in my hands and, talking about the awesomeness of this book.
It'll be a lot of fun. I promise you, the book will be worth the wait. And
would you, just one last question. It's
Sure.
having gone through this experience, could you consider doing another one?
Yeah, no, I've got plans for other books as well.
Okay.
Nothing of this magnitude though.
Right. Okay.
I don't have plans to do another humongous book like this. But I definitely have plans to do other books, especially with certain other photographers, whose photos I think, Kiss fans would really be excited to see. Those would be more like special photo books.
Right.
Something as deeply researched and specific as this book will be.
Yeah. Not as big as this one.
Yeah, but listen, I just want to let everybody know. I know a lot of you have been mad at me, and I'm, all I can ask for is forgiveness and some understanding. And I'm not mad at anybody. Okay, I don't want to spread any negativity or hate.
That's right.
That stuff. I just want, I just want to make.
This is interesting that you mentioned this towards the end of the chat, because we could have been. I was thinking about this today and yesterday. We could have been talking about people who were complaining and asking for a refund and this and that. But I think we have to focus on the positive. Even more these days. Instead of scratching and trying to go deep in what happened. So what happened, and that's it. And we all know that it's for fair reasons. But now I think we have to look forward, and can't wait to have the book in my hands, by October. So once again, Ros, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye now. Bye. Bye.
The Kissin time.
Gotcha.